Welcome to Nerdy and Flirty, a podcast designed to help you create a life that you love. It's nerdy with science-backed information, and it's flirty. It's fun, it's quick, it's straight to the point. My name is Cass, and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're having a great day. Happy Monday, or whatever day you're listening to this episode. This episode is a really, really good one because we are talking about something that affects every single person nowadays, and that is our phones and social media. Nowadays, the average American is spending at least 8.5 hours every single day on some kind of screen, whether it's computer, TV, phone, etc. And if you work on a computer, you're probably spending way more than that between your computer work and then also your recreational phone time. There's no denying that technology is the future. We are using technology whether we like it or not because nowadays, almost everything relies on some form of technology. Even just going to the grocery store, you have to use a screen to check out. Like, we're using technology way more than ever, and we're not just gonna get rid of it because the truth is most of us depend on it to some degree. But I also feel like some of us are falling into a dependency for technology that we can't control, and that's where some of the consequences come up. I mean, check your screen time right now. Is that a number that you're happy with? Technology obviously has tons and tons of benefits, which is why it has grown so popular in the first place. Like, I am not someone that's going to tell you technology is awful and we need to just get rid of it, because there are so many things we can do now because of technology, and there's no denying that fact. This episode is not going to be me telling you social media is so bad and your phone is so bad and just throw your phone in the trash can, because honestly that's not good advice, because we do use technology so much. What I am going to tell you in this episode is how to use it to your advantage, and rather than just blindly going on social media and being addicted to your phone and not being able to control it, actually setting up boundaries and systems and tools with your phone to really take advantage of all the benefits technology has and lower the consequences that a lot of us are starting to see with being addicted to our phones and not feeling good and negativity online and all that kind of stuff. There are some days where my screen time is literally 15 minutes for an entire day on my phone, and that is such a flex in my opinion, but there are things that I do in my day-to-day life that allow that to happen. And of course, there are days on my phone that I'm on it for a lot longer, but there are things that I do every single day to kind of lower just that blind, unconscious behavior of checking my phone without realizing. To me, there's a difference between just waking up, checking your phone, and going on it, and actually using your phone to your advantage. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. There's a book that I read so long ago that it was just ahead of its time. It's about this topic. It's called What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, The Shallows. It's written by Nicholas Carr. Initially, it was written in 2010, and he updated it recently to a 2020 version. It is so good, and it talks a lot about the internet, but it goes even further back to other forms of technology like the printing press and books, and just how our brains have evolved from our brain activity to our memory to our spatial awareness. It is truly one of the best books I've ever read. It is such a gem. Every single page you're gonna be like, whoa, that's crazy. After I read this book, I took like 3 months off of Instagram because he just convinced me so well that I was completely dependent on the internet, and that just changed my whole entire point of view. And since then, I've honestly been on a mission to be in control of how I use my phone and how I use social media. I love social media. Like, I literally have a podcast Instagram. I'm all about the internet. Like, I will never tell you to just delete it all because it's so fun and there can be such benefits and such perks. There is so much power in social media, and I've been able to network and get opportunities that I never would have received if social media didn't exist. So I definitely don't want to knock it and say there's no benefits, because there absolutely are. But like I said in the beginning, I think a lot of us are just like in the rat's race or like in a hamster wheel with social media, where we wake up, we scroll a bunch, we feel bad, and then the cycle repeats. I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be like that. You can absolutely use social media to feel better about yourself and to learn things. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Like I said before, I feel like I really changed my relationship with my phone and with social media, especially in the past couple of years, where I'm not not just automatically going on my phone. I don't wake up and scroll, and we'll get into it, but it's definitely been a journey. It didn't happen overnight where I just wasn't addicted to my phone. It took time, and there are certain things that I did that I feel like got me to the place I'm at now. Before, I was super hooked on social media, and any minute of boredom that I had, I was just automatically going on my phone and scrolling, and I did not like how that made me feel. And over time, there are things that I've done that I feel like really helped me change that relationship with my phone. And now scrolling on social media is one of the last things that I'll do just like out of boredom and out of habit. Now when I scroll, of course I still scroll, but it's more intentional, and I really like that. I have about 10 different systems and hacks that I use to really do this in my everyday life that I want to share with you. First, we're going to start with social media. Like I said, I love social media, obviously. I post on Instagram a lot, on both my personal Instagram and the podcast Instagram. I love taking photos. I love just social media. I like seeing what my friends post. Like, I think it's so much fun. And I honestly hate when people villainize social media completely, because there are so many benefits. And if you ever notice, it's usually people on social media saying how bad social media is for you. And don't get me wrong, there are consequences, but there also are so many benefits. Like, I really have networked and met people that I never would have met or connected with if it wasn't for social media. So I love it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying you enjoy social media, but there are things that I need to do to make sure that social media doesn't just run my life. Like, I am not someone that wakes up and scrolls on social media first thing in the morning, but I had to build that habit over time, and building that habit takes a lot of work and energy to not do that. And it's not easy. It is super easy to just wake up, scroll on social media for 4 hours, feel bad, and then go about your day, and you're wondering why you feel anxious all day. And it's because you just watched all these videos of other people before you even had breakfast. Now, if what I just described is you right now, that's okay. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not lazy. You're not a bad person, and all those other things. I'm not here to make you feel bad about this. I am here, though, as your friend, to remind you that you will probably be less anxious, happier, more productive if you change that habit. And like I said, it's not easy to change that habit. It takes work, it takes time, it takes a lot of willpower, but it can be done. And that's what we're here to do today. So the first thing that we need to talk about is your feed. This is where you're scrolling on your page and what's popping up on your algorithm. This can make or break your experience on social media. If you are constantly seeing positivity, which, let's be real, most of us are not all the time, versus someone constantly seeing negativity, comparing themselves, things like that, you are going to have a completely different experience on social media. You are curating your feed whether you realize it or not. Every post you interact with, every video you watch more than once, that is teaching the algorithm what you want to see. Now, the algorithm is complex, but the basics are very simple. The more you watch, the more you stay on the app, which means the algorithm is going to keep giving you videos and photos that you watch a lot. And as humans, we have this weird thing where we like to watch things that make us feel bad. That's why the news is so popular. That's why scary movies are popular, thrillers. These things don't make us feel necessarily good, but we can't stop watching them. Social media is no different. And I really encourage you, take an objective look at your social media feed. What are the things that you can't turn your head away from? Is it weight loss transformation videos? Is it girls that you compare yourself to? Is it negative news all the time? For me, this is a weird one, but it was car accident videos. I was constantly seeing car accident videos on my Instagram feed. Almost every other or every 2 videos was some car accident, and I could not turn my head away from it. Even though it was morbid and awful to watch, I could not stop watching the videos. And I started getting so much anxiety just driving. And I realized it's because I'm watching all these videos of car accidents that they seem short. Like, it's only 1 second, 2 second, 3 second video. But seeing just 3 of those a day is going to change your brain chemistry to make you feel some kind of way. And for me, it was car accidents. For you, it might be something like body image triggers or news feeds that instill fear in you. Or just videos with comments that are so negative about judging people. You're not good at this. You're not good at that. that it leaves an impression on your brain. It really does change how you view the world. And in that moment, just a few seconds seems like not a lot, but over time, that all adds up. And the more you watch it, the more you're curating your feed to keep watching those videos. I really had to train my Instagram feed to stop showing me videos that were negative and morbid. For example, the car accident videos. Now, anytime I see even just a glimpse of the road, I scroll right past it, and now it doesn't come up as much. I do the same for a lot of things, like any kind of weight loss, body image, intense dieting, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to see that. So I just train my Instagram algorithm to stop showing me that, and you can do the exact same. You are making your Instagram feed, whether you realize it or not, by every single post and video you interact with. So make it a place that you really enjoy. Other ways to do this are by changing your following. Clean out who you follow and what is on your page. A lot of people give this advice like, oh, unfollow whoever you don't like. That is good advice, and I think we don't take it to the fullest extent. I really mean unfollow anything that you don't enjoy actually seeing the content. Social media is a weird place because we have constant access to everyone if we wanted. It's very normal to outgrow people, become less connected to people, have your views align with people, and yet social media doesn't reflect that because you can stay connected with people forever. Back in the day, if you outgrew someone, you just didn't see them. Before social media existed, you would be friends with someone, you outgrow them, and you never see them again. Maybe you run into them at the grocery store, and that's it. Where now, social media, you're connected to people forever if you want, and social media does not forget. Social media remembers your exes, the people that you dated for a couple days, the random guy you met at a bar one night. Social media remembers everything. Our feeds don't always reflect that those people aren't in our lives anymore. I think people make a big deal about, oh, they unfollowed me. But the reality is, if social media didn't exist, it wouldn't be a big deal at all if you stopped seeing that person. In fact, it's very normal. I don't feel bad about unfollowing people. I am constantly changing who I'm following, what I'm doing on social media, because I'm the one that's scrolling. And if I don't want to see certain content, I'm not going to follow it. I don't think it's a big deal. And I encourage you to do the same because it really does make your feed a lot better. So unfollow people that you don't enjoy seeing their content. Unfollow people that you're not connected to anymore. I don't think it's burning bridges. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's making a better space for your social media experience. And if you really can't get rid of people, mute them. I have so many people on mute, and I really enjoy it. There are certain people that I know I can't unfollow, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't want to see what you post. So I mute them, and it makes everything just so much better. And the best part is they never have to know you muted them. So if you really don't want to unfollow, just mute. And also, you can block people. Now, this is the one that I use the least because I don't really block people, but I do block occasionally. For example, there was this one influencer that kept popping up on my feed, and I didn't even follow her. Like, I don't know why she was coming up on my feed. Maybe she knows someone that works at Instagram because she was popping up all the time. And her videos are just not my kind of videos to watch. They were like prank videos. I don't know. They're not my cup of tea. I'm sure some people love them. In fact, she had like millions of followers. But for some reason, she kept popping up on my feed. And I was so sick and tired of it that I just blocked her. And I enjoy it so much better. Like, you can block people. Like, it's your social media. If you don't want to see certain things, change it around. You're in control, and it's not that big of a deal. Now, that leads me to my next point, which is the favorites. And this is one of my favorite little tips because it truly has changed my experience on Instagram. Now, I do want to cut in here and say, I only use Instagram. I am not on TikTok. I have tried to use TikTok multiple times, and I know TikTok is amazing for growth. And obviously I want to grow the podcast, but I just cannot get myself to keep it on my phone. I think it is way more addicting than Instagram for some reason. Every single time I have TikTok, I just find myself going on it for hours, realizing I never even blinked. And it's just like so addicting. So I've just accepted my fate that I'm not going to be on TikTok. I've tried it many times. Every single time it doesn't work. And I wish I was, because people send me TikToks. I can't watch them because I don't have it. If you're on TikTok, that's totally fine. These rules can still apply. But just know I'm going to be talking a lot about Instagram because that's my cup of tea. So the favorite section. This is a section that I don't think a lot of people utilize to its advantage. But this is one of the best tips in this episode. Because of the algorithm, you're constantly being fed videos from people you don't follow, strangers, random videos. For example, car accident videos. I don't follow any accounts that show car accident videos, but for some reason they were popping up on my feed. Clearing out your following means absolutely nothing if your For You page is still showing you things that you don't want to see. So this is where the favorites comes in. On Instagram, there is an entire section, upper left corner, where you can see the accounts that you favorite. No one knows that you favorited them, but you know because you can go on Instagram and click your favorites, and you can see only accounts that you select to watch. I favorite my favorite creators that actually provide value. I favorite my friends that I actually want to see what they post. And that's it. And when I go on Instagram, I go right to the upper left corner and I look through my favorites. I love this because it actually helps me use social media to grow and to learn something and to interact with people I actually want to see. For example, I favorite all of my Spanish speaking accounts so that when I'm on Instagram, at least I'm practicing the language that I want to learn. I favorite my favorite podcast creators, people that really motivate me. Mel Robbins is in there, people that I want to see their content, and then also just people that genuinely inspire me. Sometimes this is influencers, but a lot of times it's also just people that I know in my life that really inspire me. People that are achieving great things, people that post aesthetically beautiful, positive photos, things that I actually want to see and things that I'm interested in. I definitely encourage you to use the favorites because it's one of the best features on Instagram, and I will be so sad if they ever get rid of it because it really has changed the game on what I see when I'm on social media. Like I said before, you are curating what you see on social media, whether you realize it or not, by every single post, video you interact with, comment on, just watch a couple times. So really be aware of that and use that to your advantage by changing up what comes up. And understand that pretty much all of social media is fake to some extent. Whether it's innocent with color editing and filters, or straight up Photoshop, body editing, Facetune, artificial intelligence, it's fake. Every time you log onto your social media, be prepared for this fact and understand that. And you'll feel a lot better, especially if you're in a phase of comparing yourself and feeling anxious. Just understand that a lot of it is fake. Lauren Bostic makes a really great point about this, that social media is like a movie set. There's makeup, there's filters, there's editing to make it look completely different. And that's fine. When you watch a movie, you don't think that it's real. You're not going home comparing your life to the movies. But for some reason, social media, we view it differently when the two are a lot more similar than we think. For some reason, if we see someone on social media doing something, now we feel like we need that in our lives right away. But a movie, you'd be like, it's just a movie. Ever since I heard that analogy on the Skinny Confidential, it's changed my relationship with social media because it reminds me this is the best makeup, the best posing, the best angle, the best everything. And that's great. It looks great. But I'm not going to compare my real life to this movie set social media post. Okay, so those are the tips that are just about social media. But now I want to talk about tips I have for just my relationship with my phone in general. Like I said, I have had days where my screen time is as low as 15 minutes, and it's because I'm not on my phone all the time. I don't have my phone near me all the time, and I have certain things that I do that really set parameters around when I'm on my phone and when I'm not. And I love this about my life. This is something that has taken a while to build, but it's truly some of my favorite habits that I have in my life and probably my non-negotiable habits if I only could pick a couple. So the first thing is that I keep my phone out of my bedroom every single night. I've said this before on my episode about sleep, but this is probably my top habit if I could only pick one. Usually around 6:30, 7 o'clock, I set my alarms, put my phone on the charger, and I leave it outside of my bedroom for the rest of the night until the morning. I do not put it on my nightstand. I do not charge it next to my bed. This is so crucial because this sets a physical distance between you and your phone where you're not going to wake up and scroll because your phone is not near you. Also, if you struggle with snoozing every morning, having your phone physically distant from you forces you to get up and turn your alarm off. This habit has so many benefits and so many wins. And one of the best parts about it for me is that at 6:30, 7 o'clock, my brain is already ready to wind down for the night. I don't go to bed right away. I plug my phone in or I just put it in my little spot where I keep it. And I'm not texting people back. I'm not on my phone. I'm just off my phone for the rest of the night. I usually go to bed anywhere from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. So this gives me at least 2 hours to not be on my phone, to unwind, to not be looking at a screen. I absolutely love this habit. It's something I do every single night. And even when I'm out places, I find myself not checking my phone around 6:30, 7 o'clock. I don't check my phone. Like, it's become such a habit in my life that once it hits that time, I'm done being on my phone. I don't want it around me. I usually just leave it somewhere. Like, it's one of my favorite habits. My sleep has improved. Just my overall headspace has improved. I absolutely love it. And going along with this, I use Do Not Disturb like it is my best friend. Every single night at 7 p.m., my phone automatically goes on Do Not Disturb and it doesn't turn off until 9 a.m. And this is a signal to me that when Do Not Disturb is on, I can go on my phone if I need to, but I don't want to be just checking my phone habitually and automatically if there's nothing that needs my attention right at that moment. For a while, especially when I was training and getting a lot of texts all the time, I was checking my phone all hours of the day, and I got into a really bad routine with this. I found myself just living in reaction mode because it would be 9 p.m., I'm responding to messages. 5 a.m. as soon as I wake up, responding to messages. And that made me feel like I was in reaction mode all the time, just reacting to everyone else's needs, especially as soon as I woke up. It really wasn't good for me to wake up and just automatically start responding to everyone else's needs before I started taking care of my own. Now my morning routine is completely shifted. I wake up, I journal, I do all this stuff in my own head before I'm even looking at what someone else has said to me. Most of the time, what people need is not urgent, and if you wait a couple hours to respond, the world's not gonna end, nothing's gonna burn down, it's gonna be okay. Now, of course, I have it set up where if my family or someone needs me and they call me, they can get a hold of me. But just the text messages, the mundane text messages, you can wait a little bit before you respond to people. I text back when it's convenient for me now. And at first I felt really bad about this. I felt like I was selfish. I felt like I wasn't responding quickly enough and I wasn't making myself available enough. But I realized that I can't help people to the best of my potential if I'm not taking care of myself. And when I started to see a shift in my mental health, I knew that I needed to do something to stop being available all the time for everyone else. Now I respond within a smaller window of time, but I feel like I actually respond more thoughtfully and I give people more energy and I'm able to actually help people better than when I was just responding just to be available all the time and I wasn't actually doing things to the best of my potential. So now I only really answer people back in the afternoon. This isn't always ideal, I know, but it has truly shifted how much time I spend on my phone and how much I'm able to provide for other people. When I text back in one centralized time, I'm picking up my phone less, which means I'm less distracted. I don't open up other apps. And I'm just focused on what I need to respond to. And it's actually made me, I feel like, a better person and a better responder when I'm doing it like this. Especially if you work at a job where you're getting a lot of messages, I highly recommend using a certain time in your day to batch out your text messages. If you're a trainer, if you're a coach, just someone that talks to people all day long, I highly recommend you try this out because I think it would actually make you more effective in your job, more productive in your job, and it'll take care of your mental health a little bit better. Another little hack that I do with my phone is I've changed up how my notifications come up on my phone. This is the ultimate life hack, especially if you're like me, where you hate seeing the little red bubble. I cannot look at an app that has a little red circle with a number in it because it tells me that I need to do something, and that drives me absolutely nuts. If you are one of those people with 300 unread text messages and 10,000 unopened emails, that is like the worst thing ever in my books. I cannot stand that. It truly drives me nuts. And before, when I had those numbers, I would just check it immediately just to get rid of that notification. But I realized that I was picking up my phone all the time and just constantly checking things just to clear it out. So rather than doing it like that, I just turned that off. I turned off the notification, so now I don't see it and I can intentionally go on the apps and check what I need to check, especially social media. When I have the notifications turned off, I am intentionally going on the apps when I want to, rather than, oh, I saw this notification and now I'm just going on the app because it popped up. Of course, I still go on social media, but having the notifications turned off has given me better boundaries with it. And now I go on when I actually decide to, rather than just, oh, it popped up, so I'm just going to go on just because it's a habit. Your phone can be a tool, a really, really good one, in fact. And there are so many techniques that we can do to really maximize our phone and make it somewhere that is a tool for us and not just a distraction. For me, it's things like the notifications, like I said. Everyone's different. Maybe for you, that doesn't bother you, but there are other things that you can do on your home screen or rearranging your apps to make it a better space for you. Something I really love is setting up widgets. So some of my favorite widgets are my calendar app. I have my calendar really big on my home screen so I can see what I need to do. It's right in front of me. I also have my fitness widget set up so I can see how many steps I got, how much I moved, and it's a reminder to me like, oh, today I didn't move that much, so I need to get moving. Or, oh wow, I already hit all my goals. I feel really good today. I also have a Pinterest board widget with my vision board and my quotes on it. It changes. I love this one because it really motivates me. In my opinion, Pinterest is like a completely different social media app. Pinterest to me makes me feel really inspired. It makes me feel really good. I think it's because you don't see anyone you know on there and everything is just aesthetic and beautiful. It's all aesthetic photos. All the colors look amazing. Recipes, motivation, inspirational quotes. I love Pinterest. I keep Pinterest right on my homepage because it makes me feel motivated. And I keep every other social media app in the app library all the way on the last page, all the way in a folder somewhere. Because even though this is a small hack, just that physical distance, like I was saying, makes you go on it just a little bit less. I want to be very intentional when I go on social media, so having it away keeps me just a little bit less distracted. The truth is we're going to be on our phones, so for me, I want to be on something that makes me grow and is aligned with my goals. So sometimes this is social media. Like I really don't want to villainize social media because it is so much fun. But I also want other avenues to go on my phone if I am bored that actually help me grow. I have language learning apps on my phone. So I have Duolingo and I also use Google Translate. Sometimes if I'm out somewhere and I'm just thinking of vocabulary words that I don't know, I'll look them up on Google Translate. Or if I'm like, oh, I want to say this to someone. How would I say this? I want to tell someone about my day. How would I say this? And I just play like a little game in my head and it helps me grow. So instead of just sitting on my phone looking at some random person all the way in Minnesota, I'm actually working towards a goal that I have. I also do this with ebooks. I have ebooks downloaded on my phone. I have Goodreads on my phone. So worst comes to worst, if I want to just look up better books to read and make a list, I do that. I use my notes app a lot. I make different notes of different ideas I have and brainstorming for the podcast, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. I'll use my notes app a lot. If you like to play games, you can get like a word game, a word search game, a crossword puzzle game. That way, at least your brain's getting involved and you're actually working towards something. Our phones are like little computers in our pockets. And even though they're a little bit more distracting than a regular computer, you can use it like a tool. If you set it up in a way that really helps you grow and helps you work towards your goals, it can be an amazing tool that really propels you to do what you want to do. Check your screen time right now. If you spend an hour on social media every single day, imagine if you just spent 15 of those minutes on a goal that you have rather than scrolling on social media. You would be so much further along in that goal that you have. Imagine if you spent that 15 minutes watching a video teaching you how to do the thing that you want to do, or actually playing around with it and trying it out. There's so many things that you can do with your phone to really maximize it and use it like the tool that it is, rather than just being the victim of it, of going on your phone distracted, unintentionally, just habitually, feeling bad after and doing it all over again. Ever since I started applying these tips and tricks into my life, my relationship with technology has been completely shifted to actually make me more productive, more effective, more calm in my head. Before I was so anxious, I was comparing myself, I was feeling all those things that a lot of us feel when we're on social media. And now I feel like when I'm online, I actually feel inspired and I feel really good. And I feel like I use my phone like a tool. Everyone's going to be different. You might want to set up different things. You might be interested in different things, and that's totally okay. But I want this episode to be kind of encouragement for you to get curious about yourself and really change up how you use your phone. Like I've been saying, it can absolutely change your life and make your life more effective, more productive. But if we're using it as a distraction, it's going to do the complete opposite. I really hope that this episode inspired you, gave you some good ideas, made you feel a little bit better about yourself. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think on Instagram at Nerdy and Flirty Pod or at Cass Camp. Share it with a friend that you feel like really needs to change their relationship with their phone. If someone sent this to you, they're a great friend and you should tell them thank you. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.